this, your first podcast.
It is.
We definitely didn't just do this before, and now we're redoing it.
Your fault, not mine.
I'm honored to be your first
Thanks.
podcaster thingy. Nailed it. Like we said before, I am intrigued about the topic that we're going to talk about in eating disorder. I look back, like, when I was a teenager, learning about this stuff, how it really, like, affected me in some way as well, too. And I just think it's awesome how open that you have been about your story and how brave you are of stepping out and, sharing that and everything.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So this is Natalie Smith, everyone.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about some heavy things coming up here, but she was gracious enough when I reached out to her to agree to come on the show and share that with you.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. So obviously we're talking about eating disorders.
Right.
It's crazy to look when you like research this stuff, how much there's a community around this and how many people suffer from this and people that you wouldn't think would ever suffer from this.
Right. Like I said earlier, the fact that I'm open about it, I didn't realize how many people and the support that you get from being open about it. And I think that's what makes me like a little bit more comfortable in regards to talking about it and being open about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
when did this start for you? When did you notice it?
High school. I don't know, maybe 10th, 11th grade. I feel like when I hit an age, first of all, my generation, I'm 25, but I feel like my generation especially was like the era that like iPhones took off and social media and everything in that regard. So growing up, I mean, all I saw all the time was just people online and what, people thought was like perfect and idolized. And I think it puts a lot of stress on women and men in general, especially when you're at that age of kind of like figuring out yourself and learning to love yourself and the whole nine. So it started for me 15 or 16.
Okay. What were some of the things that you noticed? Like what was happening during that
time? I was athletic all throughout like high school, middle school. I played soccer. I was never like big. I think I was just bigger for a woman my age. I played a sport. I was athletic. And I think I got bullied isn't the word, but I felt uncomfortable with who I was, and people made me feel uncomfortable with like the way I looked and my body. And I think that's what started it, when boys started to have crushes and I think that's what really made me kind of second guess myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were like experiencing this, was it like when you started to notice, is that what kind of sent you down this road of?
I think there was this like picture perfect, to be pretty you have to be thin, to be pretty you have to have this, that, and I think that's what caused me to just like not love myself at an age where predominantly like learning my body and myself and like becoming a woman and transitioning, like puberty, the whole nine. I think it was a crappy time, a crappy situation, and I think it made me really insecure. And then also like having that kind of baggage at school with boys and whatever you want to call it, then I'm coming home and I'm like sitting on my phone and I'm just scrolling and seeing all these like picture perfect like movie stars, you know what I mean? And it makes you insecure. It does. I feel like in this realm, what you see is just like all fake crap. And no one puts on like a real
Instagram
show.
models aren't real?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, they might be. I don't know. I've never seen one looking that good.
It's not filters and lighting.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just all fake. And when you're at an age where you don't really understand what's happening and what's going on in your mind, you don't understand that what you're seeing is like the best of their lives, not the emotions behind it, the feelings, the struggles, all that. And I think that played a big part in it too, that I was only seeing like the highlight reels,
especially going through your teenage years. That's kind of hard because you think that you need to be this perfect.
And I mean, I don't know. I think I was maybe like on the heavy. I don't like to talk about weight, like specifically categorizing it as like heavy, like thin, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think I was just bigger built.
Okay.
And I was made fun of for that because I was playing a sport and I should look this way and I should be this way or I should weigh this much or whatever. And I think that also affected it too.
Yeah. So now this caused you to kind of go down a road of not eating and wanted to be.
So there's all kinds of different eating disorders.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like endless ones. There's disordered eating. There's eating disorders. There's just body image problems in general that everyone struggles with. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, my thing was just binging and restricting. I would, that's how it started. I was like, I want to lose weight and I'm going to not eat and I'm going to starve myself and that's how I'm going to do it. Yeah. And it was like, once you see like the first couple pounds off, you're like, wow, like I can really do this forever. Like that's how I thought. Yeah. And it's just impossible, you know, like you can't.
Well, what's going through your mind at that time though, too? Like, especially with the restricting, the not eating,
So I feel like there's so much I can say.
You can.
So binging and restricting, I would go for like sometimes days and just like not eat. Like it was crazy. Looking back, I'm like, I don't even know how I like functioned, played a sport, like any of that because I don't know. I had no energy. I wasn't getting any food. But I would go days, I wouldn't eat, and then your body obviously like needs some type of fuel and nutrition, and then you just binge because you binge because you completely just are deprived and you just then eat everything in sight. That's how it was for me. Yeah. And then I'd feel like crap for eating everything in sight. So then the process just went over and over again, and then I would restrict again, and then I would be like, I'm starving. So then I would eat again. It was just a process. And it's like mentally exhausting. I don't think people realize the mental aspect. Yeah.
What goes into mental health with that too as well? Like how would you describe your mental health through that time?
Exhausted. It's a constant. So like I like to describe it as, for those of you who have an iPhone, there's
the
always
superior phone.
Right, that this is true. I'm not texting in green. Like if you have an Android, we are not texting. But if you have an Android, I mean any phone, but there's always like apps running in the background unless you clear them out. Yeah. And that's how an eating disorder is. Like it's always in the back of your head, no matter if it's there. Like it's just always there. It's always, no pun intended, eating you alive. What was the question?
How did that affect your mental health through that period?
It just, I was exhausted because I wasn't eating. It was just a constant battle within your mind and your brain and your heart, and it's just a constant back and forth. Yeah. And I like to describe it as, like with any drug addiction or with any type of addiction there is, specifically drugs, like in order for you to be healthy, you have to like get rid of that drug. Yeah. And with food, like when you have an addiction around food you need to live. So it's like the drug that you are battling with, you need that. Yeah. Instead of like a drug addiction where like that's something that you get rid of. Yeah. You need food to survive. So I like to, it's just a mental battle constantly. Yeah. Depressing, anxiety. I think that's a lot of where my depression and anxiety like first started and stemmed from. And it created me to just be absolutely miserable. Like I was just miserable with every aspect of life.
And this followed you from your teens kind of into, so when did you recognize that you had, this, or did you even recognize, did somebody bring it up to you? Were you just like, I'm tired of this, I want to do something?
So the crappy part about it is when you like lose weight, people like idolize you and people, oh my God, you look so good. Like, and that like keeps the addiction going and fueling, because you're like, now I'm getting compliments. Now, more people are starting to talk to me, whatever it is. And that fuels, like, I'll starve myself for as long as I want. You know what I mean? Because you get the recognition that you like so hardly tried, You know what I mean?
The whole entire time.
Yeah.
And it's like you're getting those dopamine hits.
Yeah. It's like it's finally paying off.
Yeah.
So I don't think I recognized it in high school. I think my parents actually recognized it before I did because I was just losing drastic weight and like time that you shouldn't be losing so much weight. I mean, I think I literally dropped like 30 pounds in like a month. Like it was just like a flip of a switch.
Yeah.
I struggled with it all throughout like the ending months of my senior year because I remember my high school graduation. I was like sitting there waiting for my name to be called and my stomach was just like growling, like I was just starving. And like I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to walk in front of people full, like you know what I mean, the whole nine. So I definitely dealt with it senior year heavy, and then I got accepted to play soccer at Lock Haven. And I went there my freshman and sophomore year, and many reasons that I decided to transfer home. But one of the reasons was because I was just extremely unhealthy. So I think maybe that's when it kicked in, like, I need to get some help.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, 18, 19.
Yeah.
Those
now,
years.
Through this, and you had mentioned, we talked a little bit earlier about this too. So I know with any type of addiction and any type of disorder as well too,
right.
There's always those thoughts that creep up in the back of your mind of it'd be better if I wasn't here,
right?
You know, with the suicidal
yeah.
portion. Like
yeah.
how did that affect you, and how did it affect you like today, like with trying to move on with it?
So I am just a big believer that the best thing that you can do for yourself is just invest time into getting to know yourself better. And looking back, I mean, I am a completely different person than I was even 2 years ago. But I think it created such a hate for myself because like I couldn't get it under control that I just did not even want to live. Like I was like, I just didn't want to be here. And I think it also had to do with other stuff at the time, just anxiety and depression in general, and it being, I don't know, like I said, I was just, my generation is just raised at a time that like all this stuff like just took off. Even anxiety, even depression. I feel like no one talks about like antidepressants and all that stuff like 10 years ago. Like I didn't hear my parents growing up talk about depression and anxiety. And I think that played a big part in really like not even understanding what was going on in my head or really having the resources at the time. And it created this just like hate for myself. I hated the world. I hated myself. I hated waking up. And it honestly is like, yeah, it would be better if I'm not here. Like, let's just do the damn thing. And I mean, it created even like friendship issues at times because there was a lot that went into it, and it made me just hate life. Like hated life. But you'd never know. If you like my friends that'll watch, like they would think I was always the happiest person when I was going through this because I just hit it well. You know, I was always like the happy, bubbly person growing up. And I also think people don't realize that like those people also need checked up on too.
I think that's one of the craziest things to me is like there is so many people out there that suffer from mental illness and even, you know, disorders, whether it be eating or something else, that you would not even think it's just like them, that person. Like my gosh, they're gorgeous. They're a
like
big business person. They're
you
know, a manager of a big company or something like that, and they're a doctor. You know, it's like, and they go through these things too. So while you were in college, I mean, was that when these thoughts were coming through, or was it a little more?
I played soccer at Lock Haven my freshman and some of my sophomore year. And I mean, this was before whatever regulation that PSAC has implemented now. We were doing like 3 and 4 days. Like we were working so hard, like preseason before like games started, that I like physically could not partake in stuff because I was that like malnourished. Nobody knew. I mean, people knew. But, like, my close friends, the coach knew, whatever. But, like, just looking at me, that's another thing. You can never just categorize somebody who struggles with stuff, eating disorder specifically, by just the way they look. They come in all shapes, forms, sizes, whatever you want to call it. So just looking at me, like, you'd never know that I struggled. And so, yeah, it was predominant. I think the peak of the problems happened freshman and sophomore at college. And then that's when I came home and like I completely like broke down to my parents. My parents were always really supportive through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I decided to get help. So I want to say, 2020.
Okay.
2019.
Is when you started to
that was like
do the
peak.
process.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That was when I was like, there's something legitimately wrong. Like I need to like do something about it.
What was that process going into it to heal?
I feel like it's just very stressful in general to like seek help because it's just hard to accept that like you have an issue with whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest thing at first. And then once I realized like, wow, like I really do need help. I think the next biggest thing was just being honest with myself and like how much help I actually needed.
Yeah.
And that looks different for everybody, you know?
Absolutely.
But so I came home and I suicidal ideation. Ideation?
Ideation? Is it ideation?
Suicidal ideation.
I went to Peckway. I'm not gonna.
I didn't finish college yet, so.
Also a college dropout, so no, I don't know.
I think it's suicidal
right.
ideation.
Yeah.
Whatever, like the thought of going into it. I
Yeah.
didn't like specifically plan everything out about how that day looked for me.
Yeah.
But I like did the whole 9 and I told my parents like I'll talk to you guys later. Like I texted them like I'm really sorry but this is it. It was a very stressful time for everybody in my family.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really hard day and I will never forget the feelings and emotions that I had that day. And then after that day, literally the day after, it was June 23rd, 2019. After that day, like I immediately went to Phil Haven and my parents were supportive and I did an outpatient program.
Okay.
Literally I think Monday. Like that was a Sunday or something and I literally went Monday.
Jeez.
So it all happened really, really quick.
Yeah.
And looking back, it's like, wow, I can't even believe like I was in that state of mind.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely insane to think about. I was so down bad. But so that was the peak. And then immediately after that day, I disappeared for hours. I sat in a field. I contemplated life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into depth about the whole day, but it was a really it was a very, very shitty day. And then I immediately got the help.
Yeah, like right after.
Yeah.
So like through that, after Phil Haven, after kind of getting back, after the support of your family, what did you then do to move forward? What were some steps?
It didn't get better right away. I feel like I can be like open. I don't really think therapy helped me at all. I don't think counseling helped me. I don't know if it was because I didn't care for like the counselors or like everybody that I had classes with was like dealing with, not saying that my stuff wasn't like hardcore, but people were dealing with like drug addictions and like overdose and like whatever you want to call it. And I felt like my problems were like too small to be in rooms with people that were talking about really, really depressing stuff. And I'm not trying to downplay my situation.
Yeah.
But it didn't help me opening up with 15 other people that really weren't dealing with anything that had to do with eating disorders or whatever. So I think in that regard, I maybe just didn't get the right help. I wasn't really with anybody like eating disorder specific. I just kind of was with like a program that helped mental health.
Yeah.
So maybe my thoughts about therapy and counseling and that would be different if I experienced something like more down my alley.
Yeah.
But like I would never go to therapy ever again. That's just me being honest.
Gotcha.
If it works for people, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
It does. You know what I mean? It's just not, it didn't help me. But I think I lied. It helped me see things for what it was and kind of see maybe like life isn't really that bad. Like it could always be worse.
Like did you especially being around
It was
those people too.
Yeah, it was
even though it wasn't with your situation. Because I work in drug addiction recovery.
Okay.
And there are people that come through there where I'm like, they shouldn't be here. They need to be here.
Right.
You know? And I think that's how you differ with some sorts of therapy because there's therapy that's specifically designed for that program, but this person doesn't need that type of
and maybe that was my issue. Maybe I just wasn't in the right place, right time, situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like nobody understood. But I think I also realized, like I said, that, you know, it could always be worse.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to downplay anything that anybody goes through, because I hate when people are like, it always could be worse. Like, this matters now.
Yeah.
But it really, really could be.
Yeah.
And I think I took away that aspect from the program that I was in.
Got you.
Which was cool. And maybe I just didn't find the right counselor or therapist or whatever. I don't know. It just wasn't something that I can look back and be like, that really like changed the game for me.
Yeah.
That's all.
What is the biggest advocate that you would say in your mental health recovery that you can spread to other people? Just, I mean, even without the eating disorder, in there, like, because I know you're pretty big on mental health stability, things of that nature.
I just invest time into becoming like mentally mature and emotionally mature, and I think that is the absolute best thing that you can do for yourself. I'll say it over and over again. Just being able to like get outside of your head and be in the moment and realize that you don't have the past, you're not guaranteed the future. Like the only thing you're guaranteed is right now. And I think it's really important once you can kind of like control your thoughts outside of like who you are in conquering anything, like from depression, from any mental health aspect, from losing your job, from losing a relationship. Like, I think mental stability in that form is the best thing that life has to offer. And I just am heavy on, I think we just create our own reality. The thoughts in our head ultimately are what we think and what we see and what we know. And if you can practice making those thoughts positive and better, like your reality will change. And I don't think people, and I know it's not easy. Like, I've been practicing this for 4 years now, and I'm nowhere near, you know, where I want to be. But just realizing, like, lifting weights in the gym, in order to get stronger, you have to go every day. You don't see improvement overnight. You have to go every day, and over time, you build that muscle or whatever it is. And it's the same thing with your mind. Like, if you practice better thoughts every single day, no, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and be this happy person. But over time, you'll eventually believe those positive thoughts and you'll become happier.
Outweighs the negative.
And of course, everybody deals with stuff. I have bad days all the time. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't? But I think it's just realizing, like, the bigger picture and why you're here, and the fact that you have full control and power over everything you're allowing your reactions to. And I think that's literally what this whole thing should be about. Like, that's my takeaway.
That's where it goes from. Cut. And we're done. So you mentioned the gym too, and I think one of the things that initially like initiated me to reach out to you was you shared a part of your story. You did a side-by-side picture of your legs where you had you know, and just being honest here, you had these
my big legs.
You had the skinny legs, and then you just were swole. It's like Miss Arnold Schwarzenegger over here.
He scares me.
But really, why?
I don't know. It's the accent or something, I think. It's just scary.
Really?
I don't know.
I'll be Bach.
Yeah, that.
Oh, you're scared? All right. And we're actually done. But that was so inspiring, I think, to see that, and that you did that in such a short amount of time. Like, you physically and mentally put yourself in a situation where
I think I was always blessed with like nice legs, just because I played soccer and like you know what I mean. But thanks.
So with that too, like when we talk about mental health, I think working out is one of the biggest things that you can do for your mental health. I was always on the skinnier side of the spectrum my whole life, and just always blamed it on high metabolism. And it wasn't until 2020 when lockdown everything happened,
I know,
where I'm just like, I don't have literally anything to do. I have a whole gym outside. Like, let's just start doing it. And then slowly, like you said, you see that progress, and not even just physical type, because really I don't work out to look physically good.
Yeah,
I
just
work
the
out to
high.
just the high, the beauty of just getting done a pump and just being like, this
100%.
is amazing. How much did that
100%.
help you with recovery?
So when I was dealing with everything, I had to take a step away from the gym because I was just abusing it. I would not be eating, and I would be going to the gym like literally twice a day. Like I'd go to the Nook twice a day and do like the stair stepper for an hour, and then like run on the treadmill for an hour.
Yeah.
It was just a toxic place for me.
Yeah.
And I took some time away from the gym, and I think that's when I started to kind of just get a better mindset around the gym and realize like it's there for me and it's there to help me and not hurt me, and it's amazing what your body can do.
Yeah.
And once I formed a better mindset, that's when I went back, and that's when I was like, I'm not here to like lose 100 pounds. I'm here to like move heavy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to do. And I feel like everyone's different. You have to like find what you like being active. It's important to be active, whether that's go to the gym or not.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone's different, and until you find something that you genuinely enjoy and it doesn't feel like a chore to like be active, then you're always just going to hate it.
And I think we always, like, when we say active, like, people are like, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to work out. You take a walk. Go
That's
take
what I'm
a
saying.
walk.
So,
Go do
yeah.
something.
So it's been like the last 6 months, to be honest with you. I've had a healthy relationship around the gym longer than 6 months, but it's really been within the last 6 months or so that I have realized that I love walking. I go to the gym every morning. I walk for 3 miles. It's about an hour-ish.
Yeah.
And like that's my high for the day. Like I just love walking, and I would do it outside if it wasn't so cold right now.
Yeah.
But I found like my niche. You know what I mean? I love walking, and I don't feel like it's something that I like go and dread. Like I watch Netflix or I listen to a podcast and it's something that like it's me time.
Yeah.
And I feel like until you find that aspect of like your active lifestyle, you're always just going to hate it. And then I occasionally lift 3 or 4 times a week, and I really don't do anything crazy. I really enjoy doing legs, but I literally go to the gym and I walk.
Just the whole entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's me time.
Especially when it's cold out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I love the me time aspect that you mentioned there.
Yeah.
Like for me, so I don't know, I might get a little flack for this, but like I hate going to gyms.
Okay.
And it's just because there's so many people around.
Yeah.
I'm definitely an introvert at heart.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to be around the people. It's just like I'll go to Formula maybe once a week or something. But the whole reason I have that out there is because it's me time. And I can just it's my zen. I just get in a zone, I start going, and it's just like, this is what I've been looking for all day, with the high and everything. So speaking of highs, you were mentioning earlier too on like partial sobriety.
Right.
Like how has that helped you through this?
So that's newer for me.
And what's your favorite shot?
Peanut butter whiskey.
Oh gosh.
All my friends are always like, no, and I'm like, take it.
Do you like peanut butter?
I love peanut butter.
You know what I just discovered last week? Peanut butter and pickle sandwich.
I saw that on TikTok.
Delicious.
I'm like a TikTok fanatic.
Oh gosh.
Like I'll scroll for hours. Seriously, it's a problem. But they do that stuff on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah.
I found it on a YouTube channel.
I'm gonna have to try it. I think I'm gonna stop at Giant on the way home.
It's gotta be dill pickle though.
Okay.
And you can't
like on bread.
On bread.
Toasted.
Wonder bread. Don't do toast. Okay. That would be bad. Just do the white stuff. So don't smother it in peanut butter though.
Okay.
One
like a nice
thin
little
layer on each
okay.
one, and then dill pickle, cut it up. Perfect.
Okay. I'll have to try
love
it. Maybe on my way home.
It's great.
That's so funny because peanut butter was like my go-to like food when I was deep in my eating disorder because I wasn't eating, but I'd like crave like protein. I would eat like jars of peanut butter. And that's when it was so weird. And that's when I think my mom also realized that like there was an issue because I wasn't eating anything other than like I would just be eating jars of peanut butter like all the time.
Just peanut butter all around.
Like spoonfuls of peanut butter. Like my friends literally bought me like an 8-pound thing of peanut butter gone in like 2 weeks. I'm not kidding you. Like I was peanut butter for like 3 years of my life. Just like out of my pores was peanut butter. It was crazy. And I love it still. I don't eat it as much.
Yeah.
But that's funny you said that. Yeah.
Yes,
it was my like that was my thing.
Home.
Okay.
Certified. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but
well, I love peanut butter and pickles. So but sobriety.
Yes.
So I'm 100% not sober. Like, let me start out by saying that.
I'm like 70. I dabble. I dabble in the sobriety.
No, but honestly, I feel like social media has a lot of negatives. I mean, we all know that. It is terrible for you.
Absolutely.
But there are positives, and one of the things that I was getting on my For You page on TikTok was just people like dabbling in sobriety. And it made me curious because I just feel like it is so normalized everywhere you go. Alcohol.
Yeah.
That's my form of drug here, alcohol, just to make this clear.
No, that's fine.
And it's just so normalized. I mean, birthday parties, events, holidays, special occasions, weddings,
5 o'clock.
that's what I'm saying, the beach, like everything is around alcohol, and you get to like first dates or what, just everything is based around alcohol nowadays. And I don't think it is talked about enough of like, it is a literal legal drug. Like, it is normalized so much that people don't understand that it is a legit drug. And it's terrible for you. The way it makes you feel the next day, especially anxiety, like, it's horrible. It makes you feel terrible.
It's as common as water, and that's sad. And I think that it's ruining face-to-face interactions, because now it's like, I have to drink or I have to take a shot before I talk. Like you said, dates. I have to do this before I go on this date. I have to do this because I got to get it done. And it's just like, that is ruining so much with that. And I think with the social media aspect of it, we're so conditioned.
In there.
What'd you do?
I swallowed really
quick.
I know. I'm sorry. I like heard it like echo. Can you cut that out?
In people's ears. Nope, that's staying in. Everyone's gonna be like, "What was that?" Oh man, but with the social media aspect of it too, like, it's so normalized in that, like, and even from when I was growing up, I'm 30, but like when I was growing up and rap was becoming the big thing, was, we were conditioned to do this, do these drugs, do this, and like, alcohol was never a problem for me, honestly. In college, I just did it just to socialize.
I never had an issue with it either. Like, if somebody was like, "Don't drink for a year," like, it would be difficult because. Correct. I could do it. I never struggled, and I never like not had my like shit together. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm choosing to do this because like alcohol was like ruining my life. I just feel like I'm just trying to level up. I'm trying to just be the best version of myself that I can be, because I owe that to myself, and I'll never ever have the proper relationships, friendships in my life if I can't offer like 100%. Like, I want to fill my cup before anything else.
Oh, like that.
And so I'm just experimenting. I still drink. I still like to have fun. I still like a night out. I like to drink with my family and friends. I just am limiting myself, and I think finding ways to kind of not go into a night and like blackout, you know what I mean? Like, drinking in between, drinking water in between alcoholic drinks, or I even just put a limit on, like, I work in a bar, and I feel like when you work in a bar, you're just constantly around alcohol. It's normal to, drink after work. It's normal to know so many other bartenders in the industry because you're a bartender. The connections, the whole nine is just, it's different when you're a bartender and when you're in that scene. And I think that contributed a lot to me drinking heavily. I would drink during the week. It was never just casual and fun and to relax. Like, it was 0 to 100 all the time. And I just was tired of sleeping the day away because I work nights. I was tired of sleeping the day away. I was tired of being out so late and feeling like crap the next day from not getting enough sleep, from not drinking, or from drinking too much. And I like to take before and after pictures, and from the last 4 months or so that I've been experimenting with this, like, I can just even tell in my face the puffiness. Like, there's just so much beneficial aspect to just cutting back.
Even a little bit. And then like through that you start to learn, like you said, boundaries with certain things. I
know that, like I shouldn't take shots. And yeah, it's really hard when everyone's like taking a shot or whatever, but I know that's what makes me feel like shit the next day.
Jaeger bombs.
Yeah. Right. I do like Jaeger bombs.
Oh, dear Lord.
But yeah, you just learn your boundaries.
Yeah.
And you learn like the do's and don'ts, and it becomes easier when you see a difference and feel a difference. It becomes easier to say no to going out sometimes.
Yeah.
It becomes easier saying like, no, I don't want that last drink or that last shot or the last call. Like I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It becomes easier to set in place boundaries that ultimately make you feel better.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing. I would wake up, you know, my friends would go out. If I'd go out, cool. If I decided to stay in, I wouldn't have this fear that I was like missing out, and I could wake up the next morning and get shit done with my day because I wasn't hungover. Yeah. And that's a good feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? And it's lonely sometimes. It's lonely experimenting with it because a lot of friendships happen like in drinking settings and going out on the weekends and whatever. It gets lonely and whatever, but it's worth it. Yeah. So far.
That's awesome. So just a little bit to wrap up here. Sure. What would you say to a young lady or even a guy that's kind of suffering through an eating disorder or kind of going through the same things that you went through? What would you say to that person?
What I could tell myself when I was 15.
Very influential. TikTok has ruined her.
Yeah, right. Add me on TikTok. I'm just kidding. I don't really make TikToks. I feel like there's so much that I could say, but to wrap it up, just like love yourself. I think being aware and getting to know yourself is the best thing that I did for myself, for myself. And I think that looks different for everyone, but just kind of peeling away the layers and figuring out who you are and who you want to be in this life, not in career, but just mentally peeling away at stuff and kind of figuring stuff out and learning how to react and respond and just deal with the stuff going on in your head without any influence, without letting people make you feel any type of way about anything. Yeah. I think if I would have like been more in touch with myself, I think that would have helped a lot instead of always trying to like people please or whatever it is. I think just being more rooted in myself. Yeah. Or yourself. If I'm talking to the
or
crowd
themself.
We have here. Yeah. But just get to know yourself. Yeah. And be dedicated in investing time into yourself. Because that's the best thing that you can do. Yeah. And love yourself because you only get life once and it's precious and you're here for a reason, whether you believe it or not. Yeah. Love yourself. Yeah. End it with that.
It's a beautiful thing. Well, not yet. The last thing I wanted to ask you too, is there any resources, anything that you picked up over the time, like where people could go to read up on some of this stuff or get help?
I mean, I had a really great support system, friends and family, and I know that not everyone is fortunate enough to have that. Yeah. I would say first, unfollow and get rid of people on any type of social media that doesn't align with like the life that you want to live. I think that really helped me, like unfollowing like all these picture perfect people that like I don't care about in real life. Yeah. They don't know me. Yeah. They're never gonna know me. Yeah. Like it's pointless. Unfollow them. Right now. Just kidding. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Resource wise, I just started following groups on Facebook and stuff that aligned more with who I wanted to be and groups that had people who understood my situation and whatever. And I created, just from being open about my struggles, I created a lot of good friendships through that connection, through that. And I know not everyone is going to like sit here and post all their struggles online. Yeah. But if there's anything, I think being open about it is good. And I think you gain a lot of support and people that you didn't even know could feel like you or struggle like you, when you understand that there's more people out there who deal with the same things you do, it becomes easier and you can have that support behind you as well. So I think just like opening up about it, whether that be, to a crowd or start small with family or someone that you care
just
about.
A friend or a family that you trust.
Yeah, trust.
Because that's I think the biggest thing out of that too.
But and get help. Like, don't be afraid to get help, no matter what you struggle with.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Reach out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It was great to meet you.
I
and
feel
have
like
this
I could talk about
conversation.
this stuff
you
for
could.
like
Yeah,
hours.
we could keep going
You know
too.
what I mean?
I'll have to have you back sometime.
I missed that. Yeah.
That's the best part about this. There's always room to expand on topics later on, especially with these things.
Yeah.
So, proud of you for coming on.
Thanks.
I know you had a little bit of jitters and
jitters.
We had a little complication getting through here. Somebody got her sick.
Someone did. I don't know. I appreciate it though.
That was really funny. Our first interaction was she's like, text me. It's a better way to communicate. And I was just like, man, it sucks that you got sick. You're like, who is this? I was like, you what? You literally just gave me.
It's because my close friends on Instagram.
That was so great.
For my night out at the village.
That's great. Proud of you.
Thanks.
Seriously, that's awesome.
I'm proud of you too.
Thank you for,
Your whole
thank
sobriety
you.
thing and whatnot. That's awesome. You're feeling good?
I'm feeling great.
It's all about me. Now I got to ask how you are real quick.
I'm good.
Good.
Life is good. God has been great, and
good.
I can't complain.
Good.
Honestly. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
As always, you can find us on YouTube at Walls Production, WALLESS Production. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. This has been Natalie Smith.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, guys.